Hi, I'm Erin with Kingpins, and we're talking denim storytelling today with Jane Herman. Jane is no stranger to our Kingpins audience. I think she's best known to us for Jane Stories, her website that she launched with Florence Kane a few years ago, but she's got such great experience telling stories as an editor, as a designer now, and we wanted to talk today about denim storytelling. So Jane, to start by telling us your story.
Hi, Erin. I'm Jane. I grew up selling jeans at my family's Ron Herman stores in Los Angeles. For over a decade, I worked in magazines in New York. In 2013, I launched my own website all about denim with my business partner, Florence Kane, called jeanstories.com, as you mentioned. Today, I am designing a new line of women's jumpsuits called The Only Jane. It's a very, very new company. I launched about 3 months ago. And it's one jumpsuit, the perfect fit, I say, in 5 colors. And one of the fabrics is actually a beautiful ecru denim from Candiani, which I'm wearing right now.
It's gorgeous. So what do we talk about when we're talking about storytelling in denim?
We're talking about every way that you communicate with your customers or your vendors or your suppliers, or we're talking about your whatever platform you have to communicate what you stand for to those who might be interested. So that's your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, if you use it, your website, of course, your
WeChat, WhatsApp.
Your WeChat, your WhatsApp, your TikTok, your Snapchat, like whatever platforms you use to talk about yourself, those are your modes and sort of avenues for storytelling. And the storytelling itself and what you do on those platforms sometimes has to be different. The way you talk to your customers in a newsletter is different than how you talk to them on Instagram. And it's different than how you talk to them on your website. And it's different than how you talk to them certainly on TikTok. In or on TikTok.
Dance, which is purely through dance.
Right. So you have to consider your medium when you're sort of thinking about the kinds of storytelling that you're going to do there. And it should be authentic to that platform. I mean, I think one of the things that I see that sort of always makes me kind of question is when I see like a campaign for a brand that, you know, is on a big billboard and then the same exact picture with the same sort of messaging is on Instagram. They're two different experiences for your customer. And on Instagram, you want to create something that people will respond to and react to and engage with and comment on and even question. And so the sort of authoritarian, let's say, or like iconic language and visual that you use on something like a billboard or a print advertisement is different than what you would want to put on Instagram. You want everything on Instagram to be a little bit more approachable.
No, I think that's true. Do you think that it's important to really delve deeply into your storytelling, like for example on a website, if you're a retailer or a brand or frankly a mill?
Yeah, I do. I think especially on a website, you want to have a place on your website that tells the entirety of your story. It's usually an about tab, right? Like you want that. That's the place where you can tell the most in-depth stories. Then you want to like pick those apart and make them bite-sized and make them way more casual on social.
Yeah. What do you make of so many brands and frankly the supply chain sort of being much more active and willing and like putting so much more effort into telling their story about their part in the denim supply chain?
I think what you're seeing is that consumers really want to know where their money is going. And for that, that also means they want to know what the supply chain behind a product looks like. And so that it's become important for things like mills and factories to start telling their story, because the customer cares. I think the customer cares. They want to know. This all plays in perfectly to storytelling, because I think what you're finding is that customers want to know where their product comes from. They want to know about the materials being used. They want to know about what the company that they're buying into believes in or stands behind. They want to know how people were treated in the process of making the thing that they're buying. And that kind of accountability to brands, I think, is really driven by the consumer's desire to see and to know where they're putting their money.
Yeah.
It's really cool that brands can talk directly to their customers now in a way that they couldn't through social media on their website by selling directly to consumer. It's cool for so many reasons. I mean, it gives the brand the ability to tell their message as authentically as possible. It also gives the brand incredible insight into what's important to their customers. So there is a dialogue that happens. It may seem like the brand is just talking to the customer directly through their social channels, but actually the customer has an incredible opportunity in those moments to talk back to the brand directly.
Yeah.
And that is where it gets exciting.
You're a professional storyteller. What is some guidance that you would give to somebody who is trying to figure out the best way to tell their story?
Okay, first, I think we've talked about authenticity. We've talked about being true. I think being aware of the context in which you're telling your story is also really important. And that means being aware of what's happening in the world. That means reading the news, staying connected to your environment. And then I think one of the big mistakes that I see companies make is like they try to keep distance through language. And by that I mean that there's like this like sort of veneer of like professionalism that you think you have to have in the copy that you write and in the way that you speak to your customer. And it's just, it doesn't, most of the time, it doesn't connect.
Yeah.
You just have to like talk to your customer like they're a real person, because they are, and just talk to them like they're your best friend. I remember at the New York Times when I was working there, one of the sort of style guidelines that were given in the tone that the Times took was that we tell the news as if we're like your best friend and your most trusted confidant, telling you what you need to know. And so I think it's important to remember that if you're a brand communicating directly with your customer, for the first, a mill, a factory, anyone along the supply chain that's communicating to your customer, you also have the opportunity to really get information, listen to, if you listen, you're going to learn a lot more than if you just keep putting out content.